As we start exploring the world of statistics, it's worth asking ourselves, what does the word statistics even mean? And statistics is really a broad category of things that you might do with data. So it generally deals with data, collecting data. So actually, let me write these down. It's involving collecting data. Collecting data. You could present data in tables or charts or just as lists of numbers or however you might do it. It is analyzing the data. Analyzing. Presenting and analyzing data. So this whole class of just, all the stuff that you might do with data to answer a question or try to figure out what's going on or just to learn about the world, that whole class of things is called statistics. Now, an idea that will come up very frequently in statistics is the notion of variability. Variability. In everyday language, variability, it's how much something is, does it vary? How much does it change? And it's the same notion in statistics. In statistics, variability is the degree to which data points are different from each other, the degree to which they vary. And just as an example of that, to just make it a little bit more concrete, let's say you were to go to 5 people and you were to ask them, how many bricks did you eat yesterday? And each of the people say, well, person one says, I don't eat bricks at all. I don't even know how to do that. I ate 0 bricks. And then the next person says 0. The next person says 0. Fourth person says 0. And the fifth person says 0. Fair enough. So that was our data point on the different data points on and I'm already doing statistics just by going out there and asking them how many bricks they ate. But then I ask them, how many grapes did you eat yesterday? And the first person says, I ate 0 grapes, but the next person says, I survive on grapes. I ate 235 grapes. The next person says, oh yeah, I like grapes. I ate 17 grapes. Then the person after that says that they ate 5 grapes. And then the next person also survives on grapes, even to a larger degree. They ate 318 grapes. So if you look at these 2 data sets, one is the number of bricks someone ate yesterday. The other one is how many grapes they ate yesterday. You immediately see that there's more variability here. All of these data points are 0, while they change a good bit from data point to data point. So we have a sense that there is more variability in this data set. Now, one of the things we will start doing a lot in statistics is trying to measure how much variability is. How can we quantify that? How can we put a number on it? How can we measure variability? This is a big aspect of statistics, but we won't do that in this video. There are future videos for doing that. But just as we go into the world of statistics, we should think about, well, when do we even, when should our brain even start getting into statistics mode, thinking about the tools that we have at our disposal, about collecting data and measuring variability and measuring and finding numbers that somehow represent a pool of data that has variability. And so the question we should ask ourselves is, what questions in the world are statistical questions? So statistical questions. So let's come up with a definition for a statistical question, the type of question where we would want to start bringing out our statistical toolkit. Well, one possible way to think about when you need to bring out your statistical toolkit is these are questions that to answer them, you need to collect data with variability. To answer, you need to collect data with variability. And apologize for my handwriting. Data with variability. That's W-I-T-H. Data with variability. So you're saying, okay, that kind of makes sense, but I need to see some tangible questions or tangible examples of things that are statistical questions and things that are not statistical questions. And I would say, fair enough. Let's look at some examples. So here I have 6 questions, and I encourage you to pause this video right now. And before I work through it, think about it. Based on this definition of a statistical question, which of these questions are statistical, would require your kind of statistical toolkit, and which of these are not statistical? So I'm assuming you've had a go at it. Let's go through these one by one. So the first question, how much does my pet grapefruit weigh? Now, it's bizarre to begin with to have a pet grapefruit, but is this a statistical question? Well, what do I need to do to answer it? I have to take my pet grapefruit out, I have to weigh it, and then I have to just write that down. And just doing that, I am collecting data. So, you could argue that maybe I'm kind of starting to mess with statistics a little bit, but I'm just getting one data point. So I might weigh it and I might see my grapefruit weighs one pound, but that's not data with the variability. That's just one data point. In order to have variability, I have to have multiple data points, and it should be at least possible that they could vary. So for example, all of these folks ate 0 bricks, but maybe it was possible that someone actually ate a brick. But here I just have one data point. With one data point, you can't have variability. So this is not a statistical question. I just collect a data point. Next question. What is the average number of cars in a parking lot on Monday mornings? Well, to think about whether it is a statistical question, we just have to think about, what do I have to do to answer that question? Well, I would have to go out to the parking lot on multiple Monday mornings and measure the number of cars. So on the first Monday morning, I might see there are 50 cars. The next Monday morning, I might go out there and count. There's 49 cars. The next Monday morning, I might see 50 cars again. The next Monday morning, I might see 63 cars. So I'm collecting multiple data points to answer this question. Then I'm going to take the average of all of these, but I'm collecting multiple data points to answer this question. And it's definitely possible that there could be variation here, that there could be variability. So this is a statistical question. Next question. Am I hungry? It's an important question. We need to ask it to ourselves multiple times. In fact, sometimes our bodies just tell it to us. But I am definitely not collecting, I guess you could say I'm collecting some type of feelings from my stomach or how weak I feel or not. But it's definitely not data with variability. I'm either hungry or not hungry on a given day. I mean, if you said broader, how does my hunger change from day to day, and you came up with some type of a scale for rating your hunger, hey, maybe that's more statistical. But just, am I hungry? A yes/no question. This is not to answer this. I do not have to collect data with variability. So this is not a statistical question. How many teeth does my mother have? To do this, I would have to go find my mother, and then I would have to ask her to open her mouth and count the teeth in her mouth. And maybe I get a number like 30. So it's kind of like, how much does my pet grapefruit weigh? I do have to collect one data point, but one data point is not going to have variability. So I'm not collecting data with variability. So this is not a statistical question. If I said, how many teeth do all of the mothers that I know have on average, or what's the range of number of teeth that the mothers I know have, well, that would start getting that, or that would be statistical. But this is just one data point, so not statistical. How much time do the members of my family spend eating per year? Well, once again, what do I need to do to answer this question? Well, I would have to go either observe or survey my family members, maybe my mom, my wife, my children, and my uncles, aunts, whoever else. And I would say, well, how much do you eat each day? I would add them all up to figure out how much they eat in the year. And maybe, family member A eats 813 hours in a year. Family member B ate, 732 hours in the year. And so you see the general notion that I will be collecting multiple data points from the different family members, and they're very well, and in fact, there's very likely to be variation in that. In fact, I might even see variation from year to year. Person A is probably going to eat a different number of hours in the next year. So I'm definitely going to collect data with variability in order to answer this question. So that is a statistical question. And then finally, I have the question, how many times have I watched Star Wars? Well, this is very similar to how many teeth does my mother have, or how much does my pet grapefruit weigh. I just have to count the number of times that I watched Star Wars, and maybe, I watched it 7 times. Just one data point. No variability here. If I said, on average, how many times have my coworkers watched Star Wars? Well, then I'm going to have to collect data with variability. I'm going to collect multiple data points, and it's definitely possible that my coworkers have watched it different numbers of times. But for this question in particular, where it's just one data point to answer it, how many times have I watched Star Wars? And my answer in this case actually I think is 7. Well, then not a statistical question. So hopefully that gives you a sense of statistics variability and what a statistical question even is.